2024 Candy Family Massacre. He chased and killed them. In the peaceful town of Yukon, Oklahoma, the Candy family seemed to have the perfect life. But behind closed doors, a shocking secret was hidden. Today, we dive into the unsettling case of the Candy Family Massacre. Join us as we reveal the shocking events of that night, the search for answers by the police, and the court cases that showed the truth about what really happened in what seemed like an ordinary family. On a sly at night, the world of a 10-year-old boy was irrevocably altered. As he awoke to an eerie silence, he was oblivious to the fact that he had become the sole survivor of a horrific incident that local authorities would later describe as a massacre. This devastating event raised a chilling question. What could drive a seemingly devoted father to eradicate his entire family, sparing only his youngest son? As the first light of dawn touched the horizon on April 22nd, 2024, the boy emerged from his sleep enveloped by an unsettling quietude. His face, marked by confusion, reflected the fear and uncertainty of the moment. Wandering the silent halls of his home, each step intensified the inexplicable dread that something profoundly tragic had transpired. The weight of an unspoken horror hung thick in the air. At precisely 9:35 a.m., his small, trembling hands reached for the phone and he dialed 911, his voice quivering with urgency as it cut through the stillness. In that instant, the remnants of his innocence were shattered, replaced by a grim reality no child should ever face. The inquiry into what dark force had transformed his father from a guardian to a grim reaper began. As we probe deeper into this tragic narrative, we invite you to follow along. Subscribe and click the bell icon to uncover the dark secrets that shadow the depths of human nature. In the tranquil suburb of Yukon, the Candy family appeared to be the epitome of the American dream. Their immaculate home on Caribou Trail was a beacon of success and familial stability. It was common to see the family participating in community events, supporting their local Little League, or simply soaking up the sunshine in their meticulously kept yard. The Candys were a model of suburban contentment. Jonathan Candy, 42, was a respected figure in the community, known for his involvement in local sports and cherished as a dedicated father, presenting an image of an ideal family man. Lindsay Candy, 39, was celebrated for her limitless compassion. Remembered by a friend as someone who loved with her whole heart, she was known for her warmth and generosity that seemed to permeate the neighborhood. The Candy children were equally adored. Dylan, teen, a recent high school graduate, was attending Oklahoma Baptist University, where he was a member of the marching band. His enthusiasm for music and his participation in the university band were a testament to his vibrant spirit and his passion for the arts. Friends always saw him radiating happiness, his zest for life infectiously uplifting those around him. Ethan, age 14, was celebrated for his perpetually sunny nature. His baseball coach reminisced about how Ethan illuminated any room he entered. From his early t-ball days to high school, Ethan's steadfast commitment to baseball and his teammates never wavered. His vibrant presence on the baseball field brought joy not only to the spectators, but also invigorated his fellow players. Lucas, 12, a sixth grader at Meadowbrook Intermediate, was known for being joyful, compassionate, and exceptionally clever. Often seen mingling with friends at baseball matches, his sharp wit and affable demeanor made him beloved among both his classmates and teachers. The youngest of the Candy children, merely 10 years old, was distinguished by his keen curiosity and a profound love for learning. Participating actively in community events like his siblings, his innocent enthusiasm endeared him to everyone. The impact of the Candy family stretched beyond their immediate social circle, touching hearts throughout their community. The local bakery owner, reflecting the sentiment of many, shared, "We came to know and cherish the Candy family not just as regulars but as dear friends." Their frequent visits and amiable nature had seamlessly integrated them into our community's tapestry. However, under this facade of an idyllic life, dark undercurrents were silently drawing the family toward a heartbreaking catastrophe. The stark contrast between their cherished public persona and the brutal violence of that April night in 2024 sent shockwaves through their community. Neighbors found themselves struggling to align the warm, familiar faces with the grim reality of the massacre. Overwhelmed by disbelief, one neighbor expressed, "The kids were really friendly. Everyone loved them." This glaring disparity between perception and reality forced many to question their judgments. As the news of the tragedy unfolded, the profound bonds that the Candy family had fostered became evident. The community's reaction was a powerful testament to these connections, with an immediate and profound outpouring of grief and support. Amidst the outpouring of tears and condolences, a profound sense of bewilderment gripped the community. The absence of any prior domestic incidents or police visits to the Candy household left the neighbors grappling with the inconceivability of the tragedy that unfolded without any apparent warning signs. One neighbor, her voice shaking with disbelief, expressed her turmoil. "I just question everything now. Something must have been happening behind the scenes that no one knew about." Master Sergeant Gary Knight's declaration resonated with a chilling clarity, amplifying the shock. Make no mistake about it, what happened in that residence was nothing short of a massacre. This brutal acknowledgement shattered any lingering illusions of normalcy, leaving the community haunted by unanswered questions and the harsh reality of the event. As the investigation progressed, the absence of any discernible motive only compounded the enigma surrounding Jonathan Candy's actions. How could someone who was consistently portrayed as a loving and attentive father commit such a harrowing act? This devastating event peeled back the facade of the idyllic family life, exposing the often hidden, dark complexities of human relationships. The evening of April 21st, 2024, was just another typical Sunday for the Candy family, marked by mundane normality. As the sun set, casting elongated shadows over Yukon, Oklahoma, they were unaware that these were the last moments of tranquility they would experience. That afternoon, Jonathan Candy, the 42-year-old head of the family, was immersed in one of his favorite activities, watching a basketball game at the local high school gym. The venue was alive with the buzz of excited parents and community members rooting for their teams. Jonathan was seated in the bleachers, deeply engaged in the game, indistinguishable from any other enthusiastic spectator. He clapped at the appropriate times, discussed the game's strategies with fellow fans, and even cracked jokes during halftime. His behavior betrayed no hints of the gruesome actions that were to follow. This facade of normalcy made the subsequent events even more horrifying. As the game concluded and the crowd began to thin out, Jonathan casually exchanged friendly words with people he knew. His ordinary demeanor offered no clues to the impending disaster, underscoring the disturbing reality that the most ordinary moments can precede unimaginable tragedies. "See you next week," Jonathan said with a casual wave, his words unwittingly carrying a cruel irony that would only later be understood. As he walked to his car, blending into the crowd, he bore the weight of a dreadful secret about the impending doom. At the Candy residence on Caribou Trail, the rest of the family engaged in their typical evening activities. Lindsay, 39, might have been busy preparing dinner or assisting the younger children with their homework. Dylan, 18, perhaps packed for his return to Oklahoma Baptist University, his mind preoccupied with thoughts of upcoming classes and band rehearsals. Ethan, 14, and Lucas, 12, could have been embroiled in a typical sibling dispute over who got to use the gaming console next. Their arguments a regular. As midnight drew near, a deafening silence enveloped the Candy home. Within its walls, 6 souls surrendered to sleep, 5 blissfully unaware of the dawn they would never greet. Only Jonathan lay awake, his mind a tumult of the grim deeds he was poised to execute. In the stillness of the night, one wonders if he grappled with his conscience. Did he wander the hallways, eyes lingering on the family portraits and memorabilia that chronicled happier times, or did he sit enveloped in a grim resolve, fully committed to the dark path he had chosen? The night hours slowly passed, each minute edging his family closer to a dire fate while the outside world maintained its oblivious rhythm. Neighbors lay sleeping, undisturbed, mere yards from the unfolding nightmare. Local police patrols cruised by the Candy's quiet street, utterly unaware of the impending catastrophe that would soon devastate their community. As the earliest light of dawn tinged the sky, Jonathan set his catastrophic plan into motion. The silence of the early hours was brutally disrupted, unleashing a wave of violence that would indelibly scar not just his family, but an entire community. The tranquil streets of Yukon, Oklahoma, were soon to echo with the grave words of Master Sergeant Gary Knight. Make no mistake about it, what happened in that residence was nothing short of a massacre. These chilling words resonated through the neighborhood, piercing the facade of suburban peace and heralding a nightmare that would linger in collective memory. At dawn on that fateful April morning, the Candy household on Caribou Trail transformed into the grim scene of an appalling tragedy. The methodical nature of Jonathan's actions sketched a portrait of chilling, deliberate brutality that was nearly impossible to fathom. Police reports later pieced together a harrowing timeline, revealing the sequence of events that led to the family's tragic end. The horror began in the master bedroom where Lindsay Candy, age 39, met a violent end. The quiet of the night was broken by the echoes of gunshots, initiating a dreadful sequence set in motion by the man she had loved and trusted. In those final terrifying moments, did Lindsay awaken to the harsh reality of her fate? Did her eyes meet Jonathan's in a fleeting, heartrending glance as he perpetrated the unfathomable? The answers to these questions haunt the memories of those left behind, painting a sorrowful picture of betrayal and loss. Or perhaps she was mercifully unaware, spared the agony of conscious betrayal in her final moment. After committing the initial act, Jonathan moved with a chilling resolve throughout the house. The corridors of their home turned into grim passages as he targeted his children next. Dylan, teen, was likely roused by the initial gunfire in his room. Whether he attempted to confront his father to defend his siblings is a detail lost to the tragedy. His life, on the cusp of flourishing adulthood, was abruptly and mercilessly ended. In their own rooms, Ethan, 14, and Lucas, 12, Master Sergeant Gary Knight's somber declaration resonated deeply, leaving a palpable sense of unease hanging over the community. The mysterious lack of motive intensified the already pervasive horror and confusion. Investigators diligently examined the Candy family's past, hoping to uncover any indicators that might hint at the impending catastrophe. But their search was fruitless. No evidence of domestic discord, mental health issues, financial strain, or legal entanglements emerged to shed light on the motives for such drastic actions. The family's online personas further depicted a life of contentment and normality, starkly contrasting the grim reality, leaving everyone struggling to comprehend the disparity. The community grappled with understanding how a man known as a dedicated father and respected figure could commit such an atrocity. This baffling dichotomy between Jonathan's outward image and his heinous actions provoked unsettling questions about the nature of evil and the enigma of human psychology. As speculation swirled, some posited that the relentless pressures of contemporary life and unseen personal struggles might have played a role, while others pondered over possibly overlooked distress signals, subtle, desperate pleas for help that went unnoticed. None of these conjectures seemed sufficient to explain or excuse the dreadful events that transpired within the walls of the Candy's suburban home. As word of the massacre spread, the peaceful community of Yukon, Oklahoma, was thrust into turmoil. The 10-year-old boy, miraculously unharmed yet profoundly scarred, suddenly became the center of the community's empathetic outpouring. In the wake of the tragedy, a GoFundMe campaign swiftly materialized to secure the boy's future, reflecting the community's heartfelt response. The initiative quickly amassed over $70,000, a testament to the local spirit of generosity and the indelible mark left by the Candy family. These funds were designated for funeral costs, psychological counseling, educational needs, and the overall well-being of the young survivor, symbolizing the community's collective mourning and support. However, the financial contributions, while generous, could not mend the deep emotional scars or replace the profound loss experienced by the community. Local establishments frequented by the Candy family, like Just Baked Bakery and Deli, became sites of impromptu memorials. The shared grief was palpable, with many expressing their heartache openly, reflecting a community united in its sorrow yet shattered by the event. The local community expressed their deep connection to the Candy family, reflecting on their journey from regular customers to cherished friends. Their testimonies paint a vivid portrait of a family that was an integral part of Yukon's community fabric, making the tragedy even more heart-wrenching for those who knew them personally. As we probe further into the catastrophe that struck the Candy family, we encounter a daunting absence of explanations. The lack of a discernible motive behind Jonathan's devastating actions casts a prolonged shadow over the town, intensifying the anguish for the child who miraculously survived. The pressing question of how to comprehend the incomprehensible looms over everyone touched by this tragedy. This enigmatic horror not only deepens the sorrow, but also leaves enduring scars on the young survivor, possibly plaguing him with unresolved questions about his father's motives for years. Residents and investigators alike find themselves wrestling with the grim reality of an atrocity that seems devoid of any rationale. The thorough investigations into the Candy family's background revealed no imminent threats or previous disturbances, no domestic conflicts or mental health crises that could have hinted at the looming disaster. The family, to all outward appearances, seemed to epitomize a normal, contented household. This stark absence of precursors to such extreme violence provokes unsettling questions about the essence of malevolence and the limitations of our capacity to truly understand those close to us. How can such catastrophic violence emerge so abruptly without any warning? This haunting inquiry resonates through the once peaceful streets of Yukon, unsettling long-held beliefs about family, community, and human nature itself. The swift and total collapse of what appeared to be a stable family unit into sheer terror compels us to face the uncomfortable realities about the vulnerability of our societal construct. The tragedy of the Candy family not only challenges our understanding of familial relationships and mental health, but also urges us to scrutinize the facades we often accept at face value. How do we reconcile the public persona of Jonathan Candy as a devoted father and community stalwart with the monstrous reality of his final action? This paradox forces us to question the authenticity of the images we project and the hidden truths that may lie beneath. The tragedy of the Candy family massacre has deeply shaken our foundational beliefs about the safety of home and the inviolability of family bonds. It reminds us of the profound complexities of the human mind, which often elude simple explanations, plunging us into profound uncertainty. In grappling with such an incomprehensible disaster, we must consider how to proceed and find meaning amidst the chaos. The path forward may require us to stay vigilant, cultivate empathy, and endeavor to understand the concealed battles that others face. Thank you for tuning into Abyss of Crime. If you found this exploration into the depths of human behavior insightful, please subscribe and click the bell icon.